Hello friends, I'm Tyler Cabral with CPF Mortgage and I'm here with Senior Loan Officer Nick France. Today we're going to talk a little bit about FHA Misconceptions, the program itself, why we are using them, and how long they're taking to close. So Nick, FHA mortgages, Federal Housing Administration, government-backed loan. Why are buyers getting pre-approved FHA? And why would they want to go that route?
Yeah, well, like anything, especially in our world, right, we look at that loan type as a tool. So you really got to look at your own scenario and see, do I fit the check boxes that qualify me for this loan? And maybe you do, but maybe it's not even the right loan to go with, or it is, you know, depending on your own personal scenario. That's the way I like to look at it. I use it as a tool. So depending on your nuances, you may or may not be best in an FHA loan, whether you think so or not. So that's kind of the way we like to look at it and see if it's a puzzle piece that fits that individual right.
Okay, so you may qualify for another loan program, but FHA might actually be the best.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's actually a key, I see it most certainly on credit scores. There's a key point when you hit a credit score range where it's at, like, you can qualify for a conventional loan, and many people think, oh, just go conventional, it's better. But there's certain advantageous points to going FHA, even if you can qualify for a conventional loan. That, again, depending on the specifics, I've seen many a times where people save so much more money. Yeah, there's cons to anything, pros and cons, you got to weigh them out. But I've seen many times where it's actually better to go FHA and they didn't even know it. So very, very powerful tool.
Is everyone eligible for FHA?
Everyone is not eligible for FHA. I would say one of the biggest misconceptions is that it's only eligible for first-time home buyers. Not the case. This is really for primary residence, primary home. So maybe you did own a home before in the past and you think you're not eligible for that FHA loan. You just might be. If you're buying a primary home, I see that all the time. People think they can't get their hands on it, but you absolutely could.
Okay, so we're looking primary home, low interest rates.
Absolutely.
Low down payment. What are we looking at? Minimum down payment?
Yeah, so the minimum down payment, there's a couple, other programs on the conventional side that can get close to it. 3.5% down is the minimum you need for an FHA loan. As where some conventional loans, the minimum is 5% down. That's a little bit more for some people to handle. So 3.5% is a very reasonable amount for getting your hands getting your feet wet, I should say, buying some property.
One of the other things that we hear is the process taking too long. Working with the government, as we know, could get a little lengthy. But what do you see on the front of, FHA, FHA, who's closing fast,
That's a good
who's
point.
closing slow?
That's a good point, because, there is that misconception that not FHA, but government is they're faster than snails. That's something to say to something. But the point being, FHA loans are actually not much different at all. FHA gets involved more so on the back end after things have closed. There are some, involvement with them during the process, but nothing that should be dragging your process behind. If you're not done in 30 days or less, then you didn't do it right, really. And that's the same for FHA, VA loans as well, government loans. USDA is a different animal. That does have to go see a government department, but FHA loans do not. They move very, very quickly, actually.
And from a seller's perspective, are they getting the same amount of money at the end? We already discussed that they're going to close the same day.
Right.
Are the proceeds for them going to be the same? Is there any reason why they should not accept your FHA offer?
That's a good point you bring up, because especially the last 2 years in particular, we've been seeing sellers kind of shy away from FHA offers, and you ask yourself, well, why would that be? They close just as fast as conventional loans do. And absolutely, you get the same dollar amount at the end of the day with an FHA loan as a seller than you would anyone else, a cash offer even. I think where some people, and agents specifically, they know this, I think where some people get hemmed up, they're a little concerned on, well, what if the appraisal doesn't come back in? There's this misconception that FHA appraisers they hit your property harder than say a conventional appraiser would. That's silly. There's no reason to lower the property value based off of a prospective buyer's loan. That doesn't have any effect on your value of your property. Now, maybe your property isn't good enough shape for an FHA lender to approve you. Maybe you have health hazards. If your property's not in shape, that's a different story. But if you're worried about getting the most value out of it and your home is sellable, ready to move in, you shouldn't have any concern. It's the same. It's a property they're looking at, not a loan type. So that's where the health hazards is really more of an only concern from a selling standpoint that you'd want to look for.
So if your property's in tip-top shape, you're clean, it's livable, you're already living in it, take that top dollar is what you're saying. It doesn't matter.
And as I mentioned, the past 12 months we've seen, I've worked on scenarios in which I've talked to agents who let other FHA offers go that were higher than the one they accepted because they had that misconception. Thousands of dollars left on the table for certain individuals out there. So choose your partners wisely. Make sure you're making the right moves and you're understanding, what's a true misconception and what's not, because it could cost you as a seller. Even we're talking about helping buyers. There's an example where a seller could have made out tens of thousands more dollars on that. So interesting stuff.
Those are some good points, Mr. France. I appreciate that. That's good knowledge on FHA loans. If you have any more questions, just give Mr. France a call here at 727-955-2316 or visit us at cpfloans.com. Thank you, Mr. France.
Absolutely. Thank you. You guys have a good one now.